time to talk to you guys about Chartwells and the vision and what we can do for you guys. So you should all have a vision book in front of you, and we will be walking through. It's a fairly large, comprehensive book, but we will, at a high level, walk through it. And I certainly want to have time for questions, and any questions that come up, feel free to talk to me about. So first off, I wanted to start with, so we've been working just for the last couple weeks, gathering some financial information from you guys, and where we're at today, based off the information we see today, let me take a step back. So when we work with the school district, we're able to significantly save the district on food costs and on labor costs. And what we do with those savings is then reapply them to your program to bring this book to life. So for higher quality food items, more options, educational programs, aesthetic improvements, to update the space a little, which we took a look at your cafeteria today. They look beautiful. So, some marketing material, signage, things like that. And then also we take those savings to apply them back to the staff, so we can pay the staff higher wages. We'll be sure to do annual raises. We also really invest in training. So we take those savings we find and pour them back into the program. So as we've taken a look at the initial financial information we've received so far, we are seeing that it looks like, for at least for the immediate future, year one, this program would probably still run in a deficit with us. And it's contributed to a few different things. And so what I would like to say is we're looking for a long-term partnership. We don't want to come in here and just tell you what you want to hear to earn your business, to win your business. There's some challenges that are already existing in the food service program today where it's running in a deficit. So our role is not necessarily to come in and just all of a sudden solve that. We could if we did not make improvement. If we were just to come in and take over purchasing and hire all the people, but we didn't invest in more training for the associates, we didn't invest in more options and educational programs and some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight, then yeah, we could absolutely solve that financial problem. But again, our model is to take those savings and pour them back into your program. So I did want to say we're looking for long-term partnerships with anyone that we partner with. And so with COMB, we would like to I just want to be completely transparent and put it out there that if you do move forward and put out a bid, it looks like at least right now as we get to going, we might find some additional financial information that can answer some questions, but based off of what we're seeing right now, it looks like we probably would be in a deficit. But what I would tell you is the team that we have in place, we would put a director role here that would work closely with Ms. Betty, and then we would also have behind that person that we put into place. With that person has Carl, who's back here. You also have chef support, marketing support, finance support, all areas of business or support people. Our goal is to work our tails off to get in here and to get this program turned around, to get it, break even plus, making money. That's the goal, because our goal is to pour into the program for you to have a healthy program, so then year after year you can continue reinvesting back into the program. But we also like to be completely upfront and completely transparent. I don't want to just win your bid and say, hey, all's great, and then at the end next year, at the end of the year, go, well, we didn't hit that number, sorry, and then have a lot of excuses. I want to get it on the table and just say, right now, the way it looks, we'll be in a deficit, but we're going to work very hard. And we've got a lot of different ideas already where we can maximize the revenues and we can maximize the funding coming into the school district. So we've got a lot of ideas, but I also don't want to put out a proposal that's based on if everything goes right, here's where we are. I don't want to paint pie in the sky and not be able to deliver. I'd rather, start here and go, we're going to grow from here. So I wanted to just get that out there and let you know. But where do we want to take the program? So this vision book has been created based off of, I've had a pretty long-term relationship with some of you guys and gotten to learn over the last several years about Macomb School District, about things that are important to your students here, about some of the struggles and the things that you guys are looking at. And so I have built this book based off of all those conversations combined. That's exactly what it is. It's a vision book. We're dealing with real people, real teams. Our goal and our motto is brilliant at the basics. We know when we come into a program, we're taking team members that, maybe they haven't been exposed to doing a lot of scratch cooking, and they've got set ways and set menus and stuff. We've got to be brilliant at the basics. We can't just come in here. It's not a flip of the switch. It's not, snapping our fingers. It's coming in here, working with real people, getting in the trenches and going, let's work together. Let's meet the associates where they're at, train and grow together. So this book is a vision book, and we have regular meetings with our partners. So you may see some things in here that you go, absolutely, I love this. Definitely want to do it. You may see some things that you go, not for us, and that's okay too. This is a vision book, and in a partnership, we have regular meetings with you to make sure we're hitting what your vision is. And guess what? Your vision could ebb and flow and change as the partnership gets going. So I will give you a high-level overview of the sections. If there's anything, I'll definitely make time at the end. If there's any questions you have, I'm happy to answer anything you have. So the first section talks about really kind of what we just went over, like how do we make this work? How do we bring this book to life? It really drills down to our parent company is Compass Group. Compass Group is the largest purchaser of food in the world. We're spending over $40 billion on food a year. So when we work with a partner, we are able to instantly save you on food costs. Not just food costs, paper costs, chemicals, anything that it takes to run your food service program, even down to equipment or anything you need for the aesthetics of the place, anything that relates to that, we're able to purchase on your behalf and save you money there. We're also able to significantly save you on your labor costs. In the initial review, it looks like your fringe rate's right about 53%. That's pretty high. So with us, we're going to be able to cut that in half. So now we've found those two buckets. That's what makes up a food service program, food and labor for the most part. We're going to be able to significantly save. So these first few pages are talking about how do we make this book come to life? How do we find the money? Because we're not planning to come in and cost your program any more money than what you're already budgeting. We're coming to find those savings, and we take those savings to do these things. So that's what this first section is about. So it's interesting, under the Compass umbrella, we do, Chartwell's just does public school, K-12, we live and breathe USDA, but we've got companies that do sports and entertainment. We just did all the food at the Super Bowl. We've got groups that do higher ed, hospitals, senior living. I think we were looking the other day, just in Mississippi, we've got under the Compass umbrella, 85 different partnerships that, within the business and industry and sports world. So we talked about people. So in the initial reports we have, it looks like a lot of your associates have been here just for a few years, fairly high turnover. Our recommendation would be to move those associates over. We're going to look at giving them an initial pay raise. We also do, like I mentioned, annual raises. But we really invest in the people. So one of our programs is called HIPO, and that is High Potential for Hourly Associates. So we're a people-centered company. We invest in our people. Our people are our best asset. We need to develop and grow from within. So for the HIPO program, that is for hourly associates that are looking for a career path. Perhaps they want to move into a salaried leadership role. The HIPO program takes those high potential hourly associates. They get to be part of the program. They get hands-on development. they get mentors, they get to be on finance calls, marketing calls, they get so much development, but we set them up for success. It's not just like a check in the box, throw them into, a leadership role. We set them up when they're ready, and then they get to move into leadership roles. And when you're talking about an hourly associate that's making, 13 bucks an hour, and now all of a sudden they move into a salaried leadership role, those are things that are life-changing. Those are things that drive our company. Those are things that are the foundation of who we are. And so those are things that are happening all across the United States every day. So there may be associates that they don't have any ambition or desire to move into another role. That's fine too. My mom was in that boat. When I started school, she came to school to be the teacher aide. She was fine in that role, and that was where she stayed. But here's the deal. Those associates, maybe they need to move. Maybe a spouse moves. When you're talking about Compass Group that's already got so much business in the state, not just K-12 business, but under the Compass umbrella, there's opportunities for those associates to be able to take roles elsewhere should they need to move or something. So the opportunity and growth is there. So that's kind of what this first section is about. We pay twice a month, and we also pay, we have what's called same-day pay. We have an app for associates that need their funds right away. We've got an app for that. Most don't need it right away. They wait for their every 2-week check. And then during breaks from school, they will be eligible for unemployment. So between that and the raise that we give, and then they would be, they're going to be able to financially come out ahead on their paycheck. We've got our Cheers Recognition Program. That's a program that really, it's a hard role. I step into the cafeterias a couple times a year and put on the apron, put on the hairnet, and say, let me make sure I never forget what this role is all about. That's a difficult role. Last time I did it, they had me running down ramps with carts of food. So we've got our Chartwell's Cheers program that recognizes those associates, and this isn't like a once a month or a once a year award. This is per school where we can, it even brings it down to the associate level where they can give high five awards to their associates. And those type of things really help keep the morale up, see that they're able to see that they're recognized and their work really matters. Do a lot with just giving back with the newsletters and stuff, because you've got to really market the program, not just internally, but externally as well. The next section is all about custom menus, and realizing Mr. Vick told me 20 minutes, so I'm going to put a little bit speed up on some of the sections, or I'll be here all night. So feel free as we get to the end, if there's questions, please let me know. But you guys got to taste some of the great food tonight. I wanted to make sure everything you ate tonight, you would see that on your students' menus within the first couple weeks of school. So, and we've done some tastings before. Everything is off of our menus. So great food. We want to have more options for the students. We also want to have the students be able to have their voice. So we do lots of surveys, we do lots of taste tests, we do lots of pop-ups where students can sample the food. So those are a lot of fun things. And then the next section is Cafe Innovation and Design. So as I mentioned, a lot of your schools look really good. So some things, some simple things, some signage and marketing materials, some custom things like that can really help pop. We also, because we work with so many different vendors, we get lots of like coolers and chip racks, some of those things that give that retail look. So those are things that we can do that really don't cost that much money, that we can really make a big splash and bring those cafeterias that already look really good, really to life and give that retail look. Our motto is retail ready. When we walk into a school, we're looking for the drinks to all be facing and it to have that retail ready look. Those are things students see when they're out and about, and we want to implement that here at the school too. Some of the ideas I put in for the vision book, carts and stuff. And that's, again, when I talk about getting in the trenches and, just really getting in here working, we're going to just really need to watch and see the student patterns. Are Are there doors a lot of students come through and they're bypassing the cafeteria? Sometimes you see that at the high school level. We're gonna need to get in here, observe, talk to the team, and just see what's really going on. But carts and things are great ways to meet students where they are and make sure that we are not missing an opportunity to get a meal out. Because one, you need the funding for it, and two, we need those students eating because we do know that it affects their behavior in the classroom, affects test scores, affects everything. We don't need students hangry. If I miss a meal, it doesn't go well. Then I've also put in here ideas. These are things that we do at schools that as the program is evolving and we're financially in the positive, we're going to be looking to continue innovating. So these are like coffee shops, alternate serving sites. So in these, every site you have, you'll be able to get a full meal at, and sometimes we can do a la carte, we can do froyos, slushies, things that students are looking for. Lots of good examples of that. In Arkansas, there was an underutilized closet. It was close to an outdoor area in the library, and we noticed that some students just didn't want to come to the cafeteria. They'd rather go to the library or outside. So we asked the school, hey, can we turn this underutilized large closet into a little on-the-go store? They said yes. That area is getting so much traction and business picking up those students that they were originally missing. This next section on pages 54 and 55, so one of the things I've learned is attendance. We want students to come to school, and that may be a challenge. Some students want to miss school, skip school. So guess what? We want to give them that fear of missing out. That's a big trend with school kids. They're always like, I don't want that fear of missing out. So we've got lots of different ideas to attract students to come to school because we know food brings people together, and if we can have fun events on a regular basis and work with you guys to go, hey, let's figure out how we can tackle this issue. We want students to come to school. We want to have some things that are exciting for them. So I listed some of our best practices, but again, this is a custom program. Like any idea you have, we can figure out a way to bring it to life. So I put some ideas in there, like pop-up surprises, Tiger Bucks reward, seasonal attendance anchors, lunch bunch connection. So I put some great ideas in there. But we want to get the students involved, and we feel like the more the students are involved and part of the program, it makes it exciting. They don't just take a meal, but they're part of it and they like it. And so we would certainly be looking for ways to work on that. Our motto is nourish to flourish. And we know that food anchors everything. It does in you guys and adults, it does in me, and it certainly does in the students too. And when we can dial it back and really talk to students about food and what it does and how it affects their mood, those things just can really create lifelong great habits for those students. We've got in here our NutriSlice app, so everybody, students, teachers, parents, would have access to the app. It's going to have all the menu items on there, a picture of the food, all the calorie content. If students have allergens, parents can check those off so they know. And it also pulls recordings, so school nurses love it. And get this, it even's got a spot where students can rate the food. So it's very much like what they would see if they went out to a restaurant. We've got, again, I just threw in some things that we are doing, some innovative things that we're doing. Like pop-ups, cards, data-driven success. We cannot do anything without the data, right? We do not want to come in here. We take working with a partner extremely serious. We want to be good stewards of your finances, good stewards of your program, and so everything has to be tied to the data. The data paints a picture, it tells everything. So we do not want to get to the end of the quarter or end of the school year and go, oh my goodness, we were not trending well with breakfast. We are watching these numbers really very, very closely, having regular scheduled meetings with you guys because we want to see, let's say your elementary schools, you're serving a certain breakfast item. Maybe two of the schools it's going great and one of the schools it's not. The data starts opening the window to go, okay, well, why is it not going well at that school? Do those students not like it? Is it a training issue? Maybe the staff's not creating the recipe correctly. What is it? So the data really opens the door for a lot of decisions and gives us the information we need, because what our job is a food service management company to you guys, is so you guys don't have to be in the weeds with child nutrition. You don't have to be in the weeds with production records and stuff. That's our job. So we bring the data, we have it very readily available. So when we have conversations with you, we can talk to you about the data, where we're at, so you guys still have ownership of the program and can make decisions like that without going, well, how do I make this decision? I don't know all what backs it up. So that's our job, to make sure we're providing that information in a digestible manner, so you're not having, you can stay focused on the education and we can be the experts in food service and we can work together. It's a true partnership. And then I put in here catering. So I've heard some mention before about catering, and so you can have all your school board meetings catered, but you can even take it steps further. We can do proms, we can do stuff that's outside of the school district, Rotary Club. Let's say you school board members have, you know, a meeting, a conference or something. We can cater all that. And here's the thing, when you cater, all that money keeps it in-house in your food service program. So you're really just paying costs for the food, and then anything made off of that, let's say you're doing an external catering to, you know, the public or something, the funding made from that goes back into your food service program. So it also keeps it, and most folks I work with, they're like, well, we still want to support small businesses and get food from around here. That's fine. We're not saying we're exclusive and you can only cater with us, but that is there. And then when you do cater, you're not having to pay the prices you would out at a restaurant, because you get things that cost. You've already got the staff here. And catering can be anything from, you know, a teacher back to school, a small lunch, breakfast, to something extremely high end like you would get at a fine dining. And the goal is, you guys tell us what the atmosphere is, what the event is. Let us come, you know, do the planning and then come back to you and say, here's what we've got together. You guys get to check off and say, yep, that's what I was looking for, or no, go back to the drawing board. Again, the goal is to be able to take these things off your plate, and so we can assist and help with any of those type of events that you've got going on. And I put some pictures. Most of these have just been taken on my iPhone. I like to do, you know, show you the real deal, so some of the quality is not as clear, but these have been taken as I've been out and about in different events. So I've shown you like some teacher work day, it is a teacher send-off. This was a superintendent regional luncheon. This was lamb chops. That was a huge hit. So, and when we do these things, we bring in because again, as I started, we put a person in here, but that person, they've got to have the support in all areas of business. So one of the support people is culinary. So you saw Chef Jay here tonight, saw Chef Danny. We've got support folks. We've got other chefs in the area that are not here. So any of these like really high-end special events, we bring our chefs in at no additional charge to you guys to bring them in and make sure that your events come off. Maybe you're doing a summer kickoff. There's a lot of different events, but events are fun and we really shine at events. Then the next section is talking about support at every level. And again, it is a huge team. We've got to have the support at all the different layers to really make it work. We do a lot in our programs. Again, I go back. We got to be brilliant at the basics. Can't come in here and just throw it all out at once, or it's not going to go well. We've got to come in with a smart approach, but we've got all the support people built in to make sure that it goes well. And then I did a map on page 88. These show our accounts. We just picked up Chickasaw County, so they're going to be new for us for next school year. And I've got on here Biloxi. We have been at Biloxi for 24 years, so long-term partnership. Again, it's from having real conversations, the tough conversations, and being a true partner. We've also been at Pearl and Long Beach for quite some time, and so we've got a lot of our districts here, and we're growing. So we expect to grow. We expect to grow this year as well. The next section is facilitating community involvement. So we like to be an extension and spread the good news. There's a lot of bad news out there. We want to get ahead of the narrative. You should not even really see Chartwell's really very much on much of anything. And we want to get ahead for our partners and do local news segments. I think Carl was telling me just this week, Ponatonks, this is the second time we've done a news segment on them. So when they come out and they're talking and stuff, we're representing the school district, not ourselves. So we look for opportunities. I happen to snap some pics because this is a school in Arkansas, Hot Springs School District, and he's on the news literally at least once a month. And when he's there, he's like, hey, Chef Andrew Tasto, here from Hot Springs School District. Here's what we got going on for our breakfast program this week. And he's doing a meal, just like you would see on the Cooking Network where he's making up a meal. But he's like, and then the news people are like, this is what the kids are eating? And he's like, yeah. And so it's a really cool thing because, again, schools today, students today are moving to homeschool, moving to different districts. So we want to support our partners to get the great news out, and we know that food brings people together. It's a great thing to talk about. So the more that we can advocate on your behalf and help tell that message, whether it's on the news or maybe a local farmer's market or an event you're having in the community. Those are things that we want to be at, we want to show up at, and we want to make you guys look good. It's not about representing Chartwell's, it's about representing the Macomb School District. So then the next section is nutritional education. And we've got so many educational programs. I will not go into long detail about all of them, but we have got programs. So all of our programs are meant to educate students, to talk to them about how it makes them feel, how that affects their test scores, how that affects just their emotions and stuff, but also to introduce students to new foods. Food doesn't come from the grocery store. We want students to understand where food comes from. It doesn't just come from, Kroger's. So we want them to understand where food comes from, how it affects them. We also want to introduce them to food that maybe they would never get to try or haven't tried. I was telling Mr. Vick, I'm a grown adult. I just had Indian food like a year ago. I love it because that was not something that growing up in my mom ever thought to expose me to. So I went all these years without getting to try it. We've got our Global Eats program, and that's exactly what it does. It introduces food from around the world to students. It does it in a very non-pressure way. So we set up fun pop-ups so they can come in the cafeteria. We can sometimes integrate into the classroom, but most of the time you'll see it in the cafeteria. Students come in, for instance, on the Global Eats. Maybe we have food from India or the Caribbean. One of our chefs, he's from Trinidad, so he helped create some recipes for us. Maybe it's from Italy. They get to try food from around the world. The younger kids, everything's age appropriate. Like a high schooler, they're not going to want this little passport book. I might, but they probably won't. So the little kids, they get a passport book, and as they try food from around the world, here's China, they get to stamp their passport. And so it's done in a non-pressure way where the students can try food, their friends are trying it too, everybody really gets into it. And then that's a great time to talk to the students. Hey, how do you like this? If they don't like the Indian food, we don't want to put it on the line and it go to waste, right? So it's a good time to check the temperature, see what they like, and then the food that does well. And usually it goes over really well when they try something new. We put that on the line so they can try it, and it'll be on the line the next day, so it increases participation as well. We've got Mood Boost, and Mood Boost and I think, yes, we put a bag on everybody's desk. Y'all have some of these items in there. But Mood Boost is all about teaching the students about food and how it makes them feel. And so there's samples they would get. It's all done fun. Remember I talked about the marketing support? They send the cleans, they send all the swag items, all the things to make it good and where all the stuff matches. The students would get their little playing card and it's got the recipe. They can take that home. And then we also have fun little bracelets and glasses and stuff. So lots of fun things for the students. So we've got student choice. Student choice is really more on the high school, middle school level, and that's really showing students, hey, their voice matters. So what that would look like, you have your your pop-up, the students would walk in, have 2 different dueling samples. I think tonight we had like a mac and cheese, and then we had a Caribbean dish. And the students would try both, and then they get to vote in real time, either on an iPad or paper ballot. And then guess what? That winning item, we put it on social media, we make a big deal about it. It's also fun for the associates because you have that camaraderie going, I made this, vote for this. The other one, I vote for this. So then that goes on the line the next day. So it's showing kids, hey, your voice matters. Let's speak up. They even get an I voted sticker, just like you would when you go to the polls. So it's a lot of fun. Discovery Kitchen, that is a whole program that's got all kinds of cool stuff. Every month's got a different theme. That's the program that includes like the chef competitions. And I'm not talking like just a culinary program. We believe that kids at all ages, from elementary all the way to high school, need that exposure. So we've got chef competitions built into our Discovery Kitchen programs. And then Power Up. Sports nutrition is so important, and I know sports are really big here, but we used to just gear our sports nutrition to athletes. But we've taken a step back and revamped our Power Up program because we realize we're all athletes in different ways. There's a lot of different things. You don't have to be on an actual team to be an athlete. So our sports nutrition Power Up is really diving into the athletes and all students across the board with great sports nutrition programs. And then I threw in here just for fun, it's not anything we've talked about yet, but concessions. We can certainly help with concessions, and that can look a lot of different ways. Some schools, they've got already groups that are doing it. If nothing else, we can order the food so you get the discounted price on the food, so somebody doesn't have to make Sam's runs. We can offer that. It's not something we've talked about yet, but I just want to let you know it's an option. It's not even anything you got to make a hard, fast decision on. It could just be as the program develops, you may go, hey, could you start ordering food for this? And then the last section, I just wanted to throw in some of my favorite pictures that I've taken as I go in and tour schools and stuff. So I threw in some just pictures that I think are great and just really showcase what we do in our schools every single day. A lot of it is about that career readiness, exposing students from, kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade, exposing them to careers in culinary, because not only are we trying to capture your associates, we also want to show students from an early age, there are so many great jobs in hospitality. This company, you can be anything from finance to sales to marketing to operations, you name it, business. And so it may not be anything anybody wants to go into, but we want to expose students and just give them hands-on experience in career readiness. And sometimes that looks like some of our professional speakers coming and integrating into the classroom to give a talk on something. Sometimes it can be helping at a career fair. That can look really like whatever our partners are looking for. And then I did put in here, because this is when I talked about we help improve the aesthetics of the school. We're going to do some marketing that's included on our dime, that we always do marketing and signage and stuff. But if there's ever the need to take it a step further, we can help. This is a school that I worked with the superintendent on. This is what their school looked like before. They literally went through this dark line. I was like, that looks like a dish room. He's like, nope, the kids are getting their food there. So we were able to do some mock-ups and order everything, project manage everything, and this is the turnout. Now, of course, they pay for the equipment and all the things because it's theirs, but we were able to buy it at our cost, so they were able to get lots of discounts on that. And then, at no additional cost, we did all the mock-ups, we did all the project management, like all of that. There's no additional cost. That's part of just us being a partner with you guys. So if there's anything like that. And then that school also did a coffee shop because they had an old concession stand that was like in the middle of the like hallways, and they said, we haven't used this in years, just got a bunch of storage in there. And I was like, we can make a coffee shop. When I say coffee shop, we have to follow the rules. So it's not the Starbucks, high, caffeine. Everything meets the requirements. Coffee shops is just the name kids like to say. But at all these stations, they've got food, they've got Froyos, slushies, and they've got meals there. So all of our stations are where you can get a full meal at. So what questions? I kind of went through that fairly quickly, but what questions do you guys have for me? Any questions?
I have one question. I actually had several, and I think you answered the majority of my questions. One question that I have, you were talking a minute ago about data. Are we going to be able to take data from the previous year in terms of attendance and be able to use that to determine whether or not we've had a successful year with Chartwell? I'm asking that question because I firmly believe that attendance, there's so many things that play into whether or not a student is going to come to school. And my thing is, if they're coming to school to eat, well then perhaps they'll learn something while they're here. And that's what I look at is, usually, I know for our high school in May, attendance is not what it needs to be because, you have your seniors, of course, and then most of them, with them being the age that they are, they feel like the school is over for them already. And so when you mentioned a minute ago about the pop-ups and the various things that are done, is that kind of what we would look forward to in terms of attendance? Because we have issues with chronic absenteeism. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So as long as we have good data from this school year, yes, we absolutely. So we track participation, we track growth year over year. So we can definitely track from where you're at today, that starting point, to when we're in, and we watch that really, really closely to make sure that it's trending upward. And if it's not, like, okay, where's the issue? And as far as it relates to attendance, those are some things that we knew were some challenges for you guys. And so that's why when I talk about we do custom programs, we have specifically put in here attendance innovation, and things that are going to draw students that are going to get them involved. Because we also know that some students don't want to come to school, and sometimes it's they need a job, they need a purpose. And so perhaps that's one of the things that we mentioned, or maybe that's more one-on-one mentorship if it's. We also work with really well, and some of our programs work with special needs students, work in the programs with students. We don't want to push the stuff under the rug. We want to understand how we can help support in those areas. The alternative learning students, we do a lot of work with alternative learning students too, and we found with alternative learning students, when they have that purpose, and no, we can't have them behind the line and cooking and all that, but guess what we can have them do? We can help them take an inventory. We can have them do some development programs where we're looking at spreadsheets and just different things that we can get involved with the students. There's nothing that we have to say, hey, it's not a cookie cutter. It's based off what the client is looking for. But those are some things that we do with across the country with like alternative learning, special needs. Where are those gaps and where are those areas that we need to really work on?
Thank you.
Any more questions? I have two questions. First question is, you said the first year we will get done. So how long the program was approved, do you think the school district will be out of the deficit if you choose Chartwell?
Yeah, so that's a difficult question to answer right now. So what I would say is we're going to need to come in. I know you guys have a dinner program. There are a lot of things that we have identified that could significantly turn the program around pretty quickly. But it's difficult to answer that right now because we've got to come in and make sure that those are things that the district's going to allow us to do, and there's because we don't, just because we have great ideas for it, we don't push and say, you have to do this. Like, these are ideas that we have to get the program to drive revenue, but there's been times that we work with schools and we've got an idea to do something like that. Maybe it's a different breakfast program or something, and we get sometimes objections where principals say, no, I don't want to do that. So it's hard to give an exact answer, but what I would say is if we've got a district that's on board that says, hey, we're going to dive into those suggestions, I think we can get there pretty quickly.
So my second question is kind of reimbursement is, what are your ideas? What are some of the ideas that you would do to maximize revenue?
Yeah, so, want to be careful not to give too many away since it's recorded, and we would have obviously competitors looking at possibly bidding on this. I want to make sure that they don't steal all the ideas we have. But what I would say, some of the ideas that we talked about here in the vision book today, but we've got a lot of things in place that we know work. And again, going back to that data and tracking that data, this is not just a throw a spitball at it and hope it works. We've got real data behind it to go, hey, we know if we do X, this is the outcome we've seen at 10 schools. This is the outcome we've seen at Mississippi schools. We've got data to make sure that the things that we're suggesting, that we're pretty confident this is going to get us from here to there.
My last question. And I think I talked to the gentleman that I saw the conference about that, is the percentage of like farm to table fresh foods versus processed foods. Do you know what that percentage is?
Yes, so we do about 70% what we would call like scratch, speed scratch. The percentage you don't see, like that other 30%, is like packaged, chips or maybe.
Excuse me. If we need the talk, please step out. We're not going to be disruptive. We may continue.
So I'd say about 70% is what we've seen on average of scratch, and then that other 30% is, like maybe a packaged breakfast item or an a la carte item. But again, it goes back to that being brilliant basics at the very beginning. You're going to see more of that because it takes a while to really get the team. We're going to get in and start training them on the recipes and showing them that we don't have to use processed food. We don't have to just do frozen food. We can work with them on that. So,
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Two quick questions. The first question is, will there be financial progress reports provided for the board to be able to monitor the success of the program?
Absolutely, yes. We have a very transparent program, and yes, we will have regular reports. We meet with our partners on a regular basis, at least a once a month basis. So Carl, who's back here, that's his role, is to make sure he's meeting with the client. And we also do board reports. So yes, whatever you need in that regard, we meet with you on a regular basis.
And the last question is, if there are, say for instance, there are popular meals among the students that they primarily prefer over others, will we have the opportunity to switch to those popular meals that encourage them to come to school? Because sometimes they may say, this is the day that they're going to have what have you, and then they're make sure they're here for that.
Yes, so absolutely. So I'll answer that in two parts. So first off, if there's some popular meal that's like a hometown favorite here that all your students love, all we have to do is go, hey, what is that? You give us that recipe, and we're going to run it through with our chefs and dietitians and make sure it all meets specs and stuff. We want everything compliant. But if you've got hometown favorites, we are absolutely going to keep those. But as far as like the popular meals, yes. So we see that, and that's going to be through surveys, through sample days, through questioning the students, all that, and talking to the students, parents, staff. We do a lot of surveys. But we have, so when we look at like the secondary level, every day they're going to, and again, we don't start out with all these options, but every day they're going to have multiple different, what I like to call like concepts. So think of it like a food court. And it doesn't matter if you've got just the traditional, like one line, we make that into different sections. So every day, and again, this is just an example, we're gonna see what your students like, but typically most schools have like an Italian station, we call that tomato. We have a Mexican station, that's our Sono brand. We have a deli station, that's called So Deli, like a Create station. So we've got about 5 to 6 different concepts that we have every single day at the secondary level. And then on each of those concepts are student favorites. So for instance, the Mexican line is usually a big favorite. And so every day those students would know that they could go in, they can get nachos, a taco. We have like 2 to 3 different types of protein, either the chips and the tortillas. So they'd be able to go to that Mexican station and mix and match. They'd also have like rice and beans and salsa, cheese dip, all that. So they'd be able to go up there and mix and match. So that's like a student favorite. Our tomato, which is Italian pizza and stuff. Every day they would have like 2 to 3 different types of pizza flavors. And then we may also have a pasta. And then, for instance, So Deli, that's one of my favorite lines. It is literally, and again, it's after, when we start out, sometimes we do just the regular bread, but once we get going, we do fresh baked bread and stuff, and it is in different sauces and stuff that go on it. It's like going into like a Jersey Mike's or a Subway. It's really good. And then the students can pick from all the different meats, the cheeses, the breads, all the condiments that go on top. So yes, there's gonna be standard things that are all the time they have with different, since you've got your basics, but then you can add in all the different new things.
Any more questions?
Madam President, and just one last thing, Ms. Neal, I just want to make certain for clarity, like, on top of everything else that you stated, Chartwell will also be able to support our annual programs such as the prom, military ball, teacher appreciation, et cetera, correct?
Absolutely, that's 100%, and we love doing that type of stuff. Absolutely, and it should be a white glove experience. You should just be able to tell us the date, the time, what the atmosphere is, and let us do the planning, and we can really do some neat things, and that's where I put in that catering section, some cakes and stuff we've done.
Superintendent, I just want to share this because it came before us once before. They also support the program that we have at the school, the culinary program 100%. And if the kids that's in that program graduate out, they also hire them first as needed employees within the district. So that was y'all told us the last time, but you didn't share that today, but I just wanted to share that with the new board members that we, like at Pearl, a lot of the graduates wind up working there and being there with y'all for years.
Absolutely, that is something, we want to hire from within, and we want to hire students that, it's a student that's gone through, been at the district, they're first in line for jobs. And here's the thing, then once they get into working with us, we're developing them all along the way. It has just been such a blessing since I've moved over here to Chartwell's. I wouldn't have realized all the different opportunity until I get in, and it still amazes me when I see all the different family of companies we have, and all, like that's, I mean, we just did a big contract with the military. We did a huge contract with Marriott that's like worth almost $1.2 billion a year. So our company's hands and everything, and when we can have talent and we can work with them, whether it's a student or associate already here, I mean, the opportunities really are endless, and I feel very blessed to work here, and I absolutely love this place, and I see it every day in our schools, the level of food we're doing, how we're taking care of employees, how we're developing from within, and it's a really great thing. But what I will say, and I always like to tell leaders like yourself, is it doesn't happen overnight, and I wish it did, but it doesn't. We're dealing with real people, and folks are resistant to change, and so our best approach is to come in and let's start, building trust. Let's start giving them the support they need. Let's build this trusted relationship and work with them to develop and train and continue. Like, the training really never stops. It's just a natural thing that it's done in a kind, positive way, and so it doesn't all happen overnight. It's going to take some time, but again, we're not looking to race to the bottom just to win your business and tell you what you want to hear. We want a long-term partnership. It does not do me any good if I just tell you what you want to hear and then we're out of here in a year because we've made false promises. And I really like to look at the scope of things and just which is what we've started to do, to tell you, hey, here's where we're at. But what you have our promise is we're gonna work extremely hard to get the program going the right direction, and then we can't stop. It's just like at a restaurant, you can't stop innovating, you can't stop creating cool new recipes and marketing, or the restaurant dies off. And we look at it just that same way. We've gotta keep making it innovative for the students. And, you guys would be our next set of, folks that we would have called, so the folks next year I talk to, like, I need them to be able to call y'all, and y'all say, yeah, Chartwell's has done what they said.
Well, Ms. Leah, we appreciate you coming before us. We thank you for the food. And, I think Mr. Superintendent Vic has a bid on that, so if that's what we're going to, y'all welcome.
Sounds good. Well, thank you guys for your time tonight, and I really appreciate it. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leo.
Thank you.
Thank all of y'all. Okay?
While Joga is getting together, if you need to have a conversation, please step out, because it's disrupting, the presenters or the people that's talking. Next on the work session is discussion of the April 13th school board meeting agenda. First, we'll have the call to order school board district vision and mission. 30 seconds of silence, adoption of the agenda as written, technology update. Mr. Biggs, are we doing that today, or we gonna wait till the meeting?
What's up, y'all? We can wait for the meeting.
Then we'll have school at risk, Higgins, and then school at risk, Deming. Curriculum update, Ms. Toby Butler, that will be done during the meeting. We'll have a review of the minutes. Any questions or concerns about the review of the minutes? Then we'll have review and approval of financial statements. Any questions or concerns about financial statements? Then we'll have review and approval of claims docket. Any questions or concerns about the claims docket? Mr. Vic, I have, a question, and, I'm gonna pull that question because we already discussed it. I just was gonna share with the rest of the board, about a late payment, but you already gave me an answer. Any more questions? Dr. Burks?
Yes, same docket number 84772, page 4 of 18. Just for clarification, the, network services, is this, there's no location of this in,
Yes, sir.
kind of need to identify those when we place them on the docket, so.
Actually, it's here at central office. It was the network technician from Howard Technologies actually had the lowest quote for that. They're actually assisting us with a true network map. We've had some issues with our, again, you mentioned earlier, our network is kind of old. There's some parts of it that need to be replaced. This company was literally assisting us in making sure that our network was completely mapped out. We knew what trouble we had, what we need to replace in the near future, and also to make sure that we had the correct implementation for the changes that we need to make regarding board policy. We don't have a network policy for our board. So this company was assisting us with looking at all those things at one time. That's not all the hours that were currently used. That is a portion of them. We actually asked for 80 hours. I think they've used 48 so far. And this was for here at central office for the district itself, the district network. This was not for any of the schools.
Okay, so basically it's what updates on the parts, is what you're saying. And
Not so much updates on parts, updates on policy and parts problems, as in to identify a problem before they become one. Like we had the Wi-Fi go down this year. We're trying to prevent that from happening again. Those big issues, if we know they're coming ahead of time, we can address them in advance to make sure we don't have 70% of our Wi-Fi network go down late September, 1st of October. That's something we're trying to prevent. Mr. Vick actually reached out through me. We've also looked at some additional services, possibly even changing some of the way that we manage our network. This is also looking at that as well. Instead of, we're locally here on house. Everything that we do, servers, equipment, is local. We were looking at seeing if it would be cost effective to shift some of that to managed services off-site, which means that we would no longer be responsible for the equipment, the upkeep of those things. We're trying to figure out whether to balance, if it's cost effective to keep it here or possibly to move it off-site. That's all part of the same process.
And if I may add, Dr. Griffin, also to make sure that we don't face what we face this fall again, and we have several schools that's completely down. So we just want to just be as proactive as we can, in identifying issues up front before it gets too late.
My main concern with that is that when I look at other expenditures that we're doing, vendors that we're using, that we're not duplicating services that could have been done in one block.
Yes, sir.
And particularly when we're talking about the expenditures of funds that we're getting from the different grants, as well as those funds that we are anticipating or that we have in place in regards to E-rate.
Yes. What was done with this could not come from E-rate, could not come from the cyber grant. This literally came from district funds. We were looking for services that weren't covered in any of the current other parts that we have. It was not covered under any of the above.
So we use them over here for the claim docket number 847772, and since you explained that.
Yes.
Then there's a claim docket number 847784 on page 5 of 18.
Oh, yes, sir. The SLCGP
That
grant.
came from the cyber grant.
Yes, sir. 847784 were approved equipment as part of the cyber grant. They were the lowest quote for that equipment. We received over, I think, 5 quotes for that specific set of equipment.
Okay, so now do you understand my mode of thinking? This is what I'm saying. We had $48,000 over here from the cyber grant, and the reason for questioning this is because I thought, it's my mind, was why did not this network service over here
Couldn't be a part of it.
could not be a part of that?
The cyber grant was super specific. It listed specific equipment and services. It allows us to have no change on it at all. So that network service was not included in the way the grant was written. We could not include that with that part. This was literally the section that they won, that they were the lowest quote for, were equipment purchases only. Now, Howard's one of our local vendors here in Mississippi, and I usually reach out to 3 to 5 different vendors when we're going for quotes for different projects. They've been one, not always the lowest, but they've been a part of what we've used in the past.
So, did we write the grant?
It was written by the person previous to me. The department wrote it last year. It was approved through the Department of Homeland Security, and it was, all the portions of the grant they wrote did not go into it. So we got, let's say, 85 to 90% of what was requested. What was approved when the district voted to accept it was, like I said, super specific. It was only for certain items and services. We couldn't change those ones that was accepted from the Department of Homeland Security.
Okay.
It was what it was.
All right, that's my thing, because it could have been, should have been written, what it is.
They took out, just an example, those equipment you mentioned, the last one, the 48,000, that was for specific hardware. Some of the parts needed to run that hardware, like power supplies, cables, the grant did not pay for. So that had to come out of district funds. So part of my budget this year was not only to cover costs, but was also to make sure that when we did get grant equipment, that everything needed to run or put that equipment in place was also purchased, because there's no good having a new switch if you don't have the power supply cables to make it work. So I've had to work with finance to make sure we had all those parts in. So we actually ordered some of those parts that were district funded, power supplies, network equipment, networking cables, through a company out of Florida called 9 to 5. They were the lowest quote on that specific set of purchases. I've made sure that because of the grant that we've gone beyond, and in most cases, instead of 2 quotes, I've actually looked for 3 to 5, if not more, because I want to make sure the district is spending its money well and getting the best dollar it can for what we're purchasing.
Any more questions?
Yes.
Ms. Hopper?
Claims docket
Ms. Hopper, if you don't mind, we need to use the mic, so they need to be able to hear online.
Claims docket 84775 for New Bears. So we have the amount, for the board, and it's dated 2/28. So did we just receive this invoice late? If so, we received it on time, but it's not on March.
This one we received from Child Nutrition.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What was the answer?
That's when we received it from Child Nutrition. They received, they have to turn it to us.
Okay, the second one is, 847781, the Lions County. Oh, sorry.
What page was the other one that you just?
It was on page 55.
It's on page 518.
5 of 18, okay, thank you. Because I would do so well when the account number is given. Thank you.
This is 847781. It is 56. The insurance blinds, have we purchased all the blinds, and does this include the, specific customization and also installation that we were informed about?
Yes, ma'am. It does, Mr. Brown was starting installation, doing great, we've got to keep that, Mr. Brown.
Yes, this cost is just for the blinds. We still have 5 that are coming in to be put up, but 104 were installed over spring break. And that was an additional cost for the labor to do that, but this is just the first of the blinds.
So we will have an additional installation cost for the ones that are coming.
No, I think it's only 5 of them, I think our in-house group will take care of them. The reason we outsource that is that we need to help people get all of them done during spring break, so when our students came back, they would be, construction would be going on, installation would be going on.
Thank you.
The other, page 12, 18. The, Fluency Plus. Is there a reason why we have, 3 different, purchase orders?
Not it.
Fluency Plus is the company name that we use, but that's actually the school psychologist that does the functional behavior assessments, the emotional disability evaluations that we have. So that's the name of this company. So it's Dr. Bell Miller. The different charges for this contract.
Okay, but I guess my reason for asking, because they're all done on the same date, it's actually 3 of them. The other one comes on page 13 of 18. I could have seen it in different dates, but it's all the same day.
Yes, sir. We have it, the actual individual cases that he worked on. He has a service log that he keeps. And so when the invoice came in, he had to send them in like that. But we just have the separate documentation to show.
And one of them is one PO, so that depends on, you know, like you said, the service log, and the other 2, they're the same PO, just 2 different invoices. So, the, 847, 844, 845 is on the same PO number, so it's the same PO, just different invoices. So it depends on when they came in, complete the work, and got rid of the invoice.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because thinking from an audit side, that when the auditor looks at it, so to make sure that we have it documented, as to the reason why we have those 3 different transactions. I think I have one more. The next one is on page 15 of 18. and that's the, claim docket number 847872, and that's for the 76,000 for the Summit project. Is that a, I know that that's an installment, but do we know exactly, what the payment is for?
I mean, it's for the construction at the Summit, school.
I mean, what phase?
I'm not sure about
You
the
know,
phase.
okay, so, and then do you know, have we got a, concept, how many more payments that we have, we're gonna have to do?
I'm not certain, Dr. Bird, but we can definitely get back with you on that information. We do know that the anticipated closing date is April 15th. Mr. Brown, do we have another, meeting scheduled? Right?
We do have another meeting, and Mr. Perry did express at the end of last week that this meeting, we really pushed it to get everything done by the 15th. But I told myself, we have to extend the contract and not get any more money. So, and they understand that, they just may need a couple of days to put all the T's and I's on them. We have to do a punch list, we have to walk through the building at the end and identify things that may need to be fixed or, we view it not done correctly, and then they'll have to come back in and complete all of that. So, we'll, have a walk through with technology, maintenance, superintendent, we'll walk through, make this little punch list, make sure everything is complete before they leave, the site.
And once again, Mr. Brown, how many days do we have, I think, need to find something else that needs to come back? Because we make this, something you do that walkthrough.
I don't want to speak to the warranty without looking, but typically on the hardware and everything in there, there's a year warranty on it. But let me get more clarity on the workmanship before I speak to that.
Also, I may be a little off on this, but as I can recall, the schematic architectural designs that was presented to the board, it included a presentation of the appearance of what how it's supposed to look when it is complete, when not correct.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen it? So my concern is I did a walkthrough this weekend on the outside, and I saw where the construction is still, you know, in its nutrition. I'm also concerned now when they say completed, that the outside appearance is closely to the presentation that was made to us. Now, I don't know if they're going to do anything with appearance on the outside, so scrubby or what have you. But right now, there are some really bad places on the outside where they have the building on the outside. So that's something, and I'm saying this ahead. So it's something that we've got to come back and review to make sure that it is presentable.
Yes, sir.
Especially after the fences and all have been installed.
Yes, sir. And we all make a note to cover that in our meeting with Brad and Dr. Birch too, okay?
What I would like to add to that is, we had the presentation that we had a few weeks ago. One of the things they talked about was the topography of the land and how where the new building is extremely high. And then whether or not it's gonna be scaled to where a student doesn't, or me for that matter, doesn't hurt myself if I'm trying to walk up or down the hill there. And I just wonder, because they did talk about actually having a couple of photos or artist renditions of what it would actually look like, the entire campus. I'm saying, I don't know if that's a part of what they're supposed to do or not, but I get what Dr. Burks is saying. If we're talking about April 15th, well then we need to know that what we have, a finished product, is something that we're not gonna be left with trying to actually landscape it. I think, Mark, he calls it curb appeal, right? That we're not stuck with having to present our own curb appeal.
Yes, ma'am. We'll make a note of that this morning, and we will report back to the board, okay?
So,
Do we have any more questions about claims document? Next, we'll have a report and presentation of the business of the superintendent.
Madam President, we have the report and presentation of the business of the superintendent. Number 12, we have report 16 session, number 1.
Any questions or concerns about 16th section?
I have one question.
Dr. Burke?
I need to clarify, it's indicated that there is an action that needs to be taken by the board on the lease. It's outstanding. And what in particular are we?
This is not, the only thing that on the report that we're waiting on was signatures, which we got the signatures from the board president and from, Mr. Vick. We got the signature of the leasing today and notarized, so tomorrow we take it, or I take it down to the county, administrator, and she gets it on for the county supervisor. So where we're at now is we've got everything signed on our part, and we'll take it down to the county supervisors. Tomorrow she'll get it on their board meeting, and they'll approve it. Then we go back to, Chancery, and we get it, we get it basically turned in and they list it for us, and then we can put it on the, website for the state.
Dr. Burks, I believe that lease was approved.
It was approved on the
Last-
20th,
yes.
yeah, last month, so it's been approved.
Okay, I'm just seeing this question because it said new item requiring board action. Jason,
Yeah, that's it.
Any more questions about 16th section?
Madam President, number 2, we have teacher attendance report.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, number 3, we have enrollment breakdown.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, number 4, we have discipline report.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, number 5, we have teacher student of the month report.
That will be presented at the board meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, we have B, consent agenda out of 1, 2, 3.
Any questions or concerns about, 1 and 2? Because we need to discuss the donation of the parcel land. Any questions or concerns about 1 or 2 first? The third one is the, approval of the land that, was trying to, that, someone wanted to donate to Macomb School District. I'm gonna let Mr. Vick make an explanation about that.
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. We did reach out, to the agency to do an inspection of the house, just to make certain that we, kind of knew what we were getting into. And we were discovered during that investigation, that the house, does contain, asbestos, which will require, the district to take some, required steps by law in order to safely remove that material from the house. Mr. Brown, do you want to elaborate on what we found when you called the company in?
Yes, we called 2 contractors in to look at the house, because I wanted to get an estimate on disposing of the house before, so the board would know what it was taking on, if we accepted it as a donation, and then we had to tear it down and remove it. During those inspections, we found that there is a good amount of asbestos there. So from there, I went to the city and talked to Mr. Green, and he said he's over demolition of the houses. And he said, yes, that he was aware that 722 did contain asbestos. And so I said, well, what is y'all's process through the city? Because the quotes we were going to get were pretty high. And he said, well, the reason for that is because you have to go through an abatement, get all the asbestos out, and then the contractor will come in and dispose of it. So it was, after talking to Mr. Big, it was my suggestion that since it was already on the list to be demolished, let the city and the landowner handle that, and then us look at it after that, because for us to take on the abatement and removing of everything, I think it's going to cost us a lot more from that standpoint. But the city has a process in place, and after talking to Mr. Green, he said it cost him between $10,000 and $18,000, which is much lower than what we were going to be working to do that. So that's my suggestion, is to let the city and the landowner handle that, and then if the landowner wants us to purchase it, or whatever it costs to tear it down, I think that's still a wonderful idea, but we are landlocked there. It would be it's ironic, I talked to Mr. Vick early in the year about trying to see if we could purchase that property, because it is right across from us.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. With that being said, I think that needs to be moved to the regular agenda for next week, so that way we can vote on whether or not, we need to accept or deny the offer. So it needs to be moved to the regular agenda.
Yes, ma'am, we would, make sure that move to the regular agenda. Next, Madam President, we have, C, regular agenda, approval of the 26-27 school board meeting date.
Any questions or concerns? I just want to note that, for March 2027, the first meeting will be that Wednesday, because, in March, the first and the second, Monday and Tuesday, they normally have training here at Southwest. Most local school districts go to Southwest Community College, training that day, and the following, week is, spring break. So with discussion with the superintendent, the best date for that is March 3rd. We also have one more date on here, and right now, I'm not sure what date it is. We will be meeting on a Tuesday, because that Monday is also a holiday. But other than that, all the meetings will be on Monday. Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, number 2, we have approval of paid school holidays.
Any questions or concerns?
Number 3, we have approval of the depository bids.
Any questions or concerns?
Number 3, we have approval of pay scale discussion.
Any questions or concerns?
Number 5, we have approval of policy revision.
Any questions or concerns? Mr. Big, I have a question. When we get these policies in, are we customizing it to what we're doing here locally?
Yes, but we'll, Austin Gilbert is making certain that we stay in compliance with Mississippi State, with state laws, Madam President, and anything that we ask them to do that, pertains specifically to Macomb School District.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's applied with the, current contact person.
Yes, sir. If they are, they definitely are not very.
Okay, just want to make sure, because I saw one where the, contact information was incorrect.
Yes, sir. I'll make a note of that, and I'll contact Austin, we'll just make sure he has all the right information.
Make sure they get a list.
had changed personnel, and still has previous personnel, since the policy.
Yes, sir. Madam President, number 6, approval of personnel renewal classified.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, number 7, approval of personnel renewal certified.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President,
Any questions or concerns? I have a question, Mr. Big, so we would have to move that into our executive session.
okay. Madam President, number 8, approval of Macomb School District Strategic Plan third review. MSBA should be getting us our plan back to us at some point this week, and we'll add the attachment on the agenda.
Okay, Mr. Big, when y'all add it, can you send the board member an email so that we can go look at it, or you can send it to us directly where we can review it?
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, number 8, approval of request to advertise for bid for food service RFP.
For the record, Ms. Eldridge, that's number 9. Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, number 10, approval of committee form for the purpose of renaming Macomb High School gym.
I think that's name wrong, Mr. Vick, because we had approved for the committee at last month meeting, and the committee already met. So this should say approval, of the recommendation of the renaming of the building.
Okay.
Or not the recommendation, because I don't know. So that should say that.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, number 11, approval of the organizational chart.
Any questions or concerns?
Of course,
Dr. Burks?
thank you. Discuss it in executive session.
Yes, sir. Madam President, number 12, approval of budget IDEA.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, we have miscellaneous business. Approval of resolution honoring Pastor Robert Vick Jr. and Miss Pearl Vick Jr.
Any questions or concerns?
Number 2, we have approval and non-approval of out-of-district transfer.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, number 13, we have personnel recommendation.
Any questions or concerns?
Madam President, we have number 14, volunteer recommendation.
Any questions or concerns? At this time, I need a motion that we go into closed determination, whether or not to go into closed determination.
I'm looking at the door to close determination.
I have a motion and a second, whether or not we go into executive session. Right, closed determination on the reason of going into executive session. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mr. Biggs?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Biggs?
Yes, ma'am, give me 1 second, I'm almost there.
Turn it up. And just off or down? You ready? Thank you for joining us. We was in executive session. We had some legal matters and 2 personnel issues. At this time, can I have a motion to adjourn the work session?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Everybody have a good one.
You too, be safe on the road.
Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown.
Yes,
I like y'all yeah. I like that. I wasn't ready to go so low, but I like y'all little great stuff.
Appreciate it.
Miss Martin, watch
Y'all
out.
been out.
What you can call.
They say y'all was at the trade meeting in Brookhaven, but they said they thought y'all was Macomb, PG.
They were telling us to apply for Brookhaven.
Y'all been told us, they said that.
We told them we good.
I heard that too.